Welcome back to part two, people. I'm going through a huge collection of whiskey ephemera that I've been buying over the years. My name's Mark Littler. I'm the owner and editor-in-chief at the Whisky Wash, and I'm also the owner of Mark Littler Limited. And I also have a problem with buying empty boxes for bottles of whiskey. Bear with me, people. I know I'm a little bit mad, but there is good method in my madness here. Now, there's some things that I'm for and something that I'm against. One of the biggest things that I'm against is the selling of empty bottles on eBay. Selling an empty bottle on eBay can only really be done for one thing, and that's to make a fake bottle with. If you've got, there was one sold, a brewer 40-year-old empty bottle just sold for £200, and that's like a £20,000+ bottle. Like, come on, what's someone going to do with that? They're not just going to put it on display, are they? So I'm totally against the sale of empty bottles. Empty boxes, on the other hand, pose quite a good opportunity if you're somebody like me who covers a lot of the market, because like a lot of these bottles, take for this, an empty anniversary malt box. The anniversary malt series was released, beginning in 1983. So for 40+ years, people have been buying these bottles. And you know what? This big clunky box isn't going to fit in everybody's cupboard. So you would throw the box away. And therefore, once you've got rid of the box, the bottle's worth a good amount less, maybe 20-30% less. So I view boxes to bottles of whiskey as a way of basically adding value to a bottle. So if we find a bottle at auction, an anniversary malt bottle at auction, well, there you go. We've got a box for it. And, you know, likewise, 2 Diamond Jubilee boxes. If you find a Diamond Jubilee at auction without its box, it's going to be worth considerably less than if it had its box. Some of the boxes here, I don't even know what they're for. Like, help me. Springbank 25-year-old with a green font on it. I've got no idea what bottle this was from. I thought it was the rum cask because that had green labelling on it, I believe, but I don't know. So anyone help me with this one. Other ones are a bit more obvious, like modern Springbank 21s. I mean, this just came in a parcel when I bought a big lot of them. The Macallan, this is from the replica series. These ends always go, but I actually just really like this one as a sort of piece of design. You've got some nice Macallan tins, and these Macallan tins, again, look at the story. So here are the people that were responsible for making Macallan what it is today. Willie Phillips was the managing director, and then Hugh Metcalf was the marketing director. And it's these two, in association with David Holmes, are the people that made the brand what it is today. You recognise this? This is one of Sarah Midder's illustrations from our remarkable history of the Macallan Glenlivets that we had earlier. So this, if you recognise this illustration here, this is the illustration that we have the original watercolour for, that's actually on sale by David Holmes. So we've got, this is the front of Easter Oakey's house that Macallan used. We've got the sketch from the back of Easter Oakey's house that was never actually used. Again, this 12-year-old tin has got another version of Easter Oakey's house in it, and this is the autumn version. And again, in the Macallan archive, there is the original watercolour by David Holmes with that view on it. And like, you see the difference between some, like autumn and summer there. And then likewise, more of these Sarah Midder illustrations that come from the remarkable history of the Macallan Glenlivet. So you can soon start to see how all of these pieces, when you actually understand the meaning of what's on there, start to have a little bit of significance. And yeah, some of them are just quite boring, some of them are quite interesting. Now, if you've got a keen eye, you probably would have spotted some really special boxes here. So let's make a little bit of space here so that we can have a look at these, because these are silly expensive boxes. Macallan 50-year-old in the leak box with its original booklet up here as well. So again, this is the part of the Macallan and Lalique series, the most expensive series of bottles that Macallan have ever done, and arguably some of the most beautiful. Again, here you've got the 60-year-old. This weighs an absolute ton, this one. Open. There you go. So you've got here with the book. Sorry about that. That's my phone going off. Amazing with its little original book there as well. And then likewise, you've got another one here for the 62-year-old. And again, this one's got a pull-out drawer with another book in here. And actually, I've never really looked at this, to be fair. I do need to look at these. But again, you imagine what price a Macallan and Lalique would make without the box, and then imagine tying the box into it and having the value of it complete. So, and plus they're really nice pieces of artistry, to be honest with you. Really nice books. So there you go. So 3 Macallan and Laliques, and we've also got the big outer boxes with all of these as well, because these are all in massive shipping boxes as well. Now, yeah, they're a bit boring. Let's dive into something that's hyper interesting. Right, a few years ago, I bought these. What are they? These are bloody amazing pieces of history. Go back to the early part of the 20th century, and the Ardbeg distillery was in financial difficulty and it closed down. Then along comes Alexander McDougall and buys the distillery back for about £20,000, somewhere in that region. So he reopens the distillery. We have got a huge archive of cheques here. These are ones from, so this one's from January the 28th, 1923, from Alexander McDougall Company, from the Ardbeg distillery in Islay, from the bank, the Royal Bank of Scotland, Port Ellen. So these are all operational cheques that were going into, that were basically being issued by the distillery. Now, 1925, there's a huge amount of them in here. And if you're interested in looking at these, actually head to the Whisky Wash, because we've got a huge amount of, well, we've got all of these archived so that you can go and view them, and they're all open source. Look at this, £1,450 in 1925. Incredible sums of money. So, but this is, you know, £2,900. But again, look, I can't read who this is to and from. So maybe there's a comment section on the Whisky Wash. If you can decipher who some of these payments are to and what they're for, then you know what, you'll be adding to a piece of history there. So I might do an extra video on these, because I am toying with the idea of them. I don't really have the need to physically possess these. I don't really care about owning them. Now that I've got them all digitized and available on the Whisky Wash, they're available for everybody in the public. And like, why don't we, you know, we have thought about sort of like just doing a lucky dip. So we'll put them up for sale and you'll pay something for them and you'll get a lucky dip. And I'm not going to put them all for sale individually, but if you want them, what do you think of that idea? Get in the comments. And look at these as well. These are absolutely phenomenal. These are Ardbeg charts of accounts. So this is 1922 chart of accounts. So let's open one of these up here. That's the boring bit. It does say on the top of them, maybe not on these ones. This is all the sales, but this isn't the one that I was hoping to find. So let me find another one. Let's go forward a few years. Let's go and just try this one. There's one that says about sales of Ardbeg Aqua. Yeah, chart of accounts, Ardbeg Aqua, sold an account, and you've got everything that they were selling, who they were selling it to, and how much of it they were selling. So this is like a 100-year-old piece of history of the Ardbeg distillery, and to me that's absolutely fascinating. Why the hell wouldn't you want to buy this? And sort of like dig into the history of it all. It's absolutely fascinating to me. So that is another amazing archive. Now we've got one more amazing archive here, and this is again also digitized and available on the Whisky Wash. Now this is the Johnnie Walker advert archive, and this is phenomenal. Johnnie Walker started in the 19th century, obviously, but in the 20th century, in 1909, the range as we know it today, with the red label, the blue, well, the red label, the black label, etc., all kind of came to fruition. Now, if we look here, we have got adverts, 40s, 30s, 20s, 10s, here we go, from all the way from the 1910s all the way until the 1960s. And again, all of these are available on the Whisky Wash. You can download them if you want to get one framed up and whatnot. So these are all the adverts from the Illustrated London News, 1910, 1911, 1915. And you can just see what an amazing, it shows a bit more. So they're 1910, look, they're all black and white line drawings. 1920s, travel, the Roaring Twenties, you know, you've got this slightly different feel, but notice how you're still all in black and white and mostly in line drawings. And this is, you know, why Johnnie Walker sells 8 bottles a second. And again, we've got amazing history videos on Johnnie Walker. Now let's flash forward to my favourite decade here, the 1940s, because there are some absolutely beautiful, like good work, good whiskey. And you can kind of see this post-war, or and you can kind of see the changing nature of the, well, yeah, that's part of the Illustrated London News there, but you can kind of see how advertising is changing and how the world is changing as well around the brand. And this again goes, I mean, look at that, isn't that just a gorgeous advert? But you can kind of see how we've gone from that quite simple linear line drawing style to coloured illustrations. And then let's move all the way up to the 1960s now. Very distinct difference in terms of these are all photographic mostly. So it just really is a fascinating archive. There's over 100 of these adverts, and like I say, they're all open source, Creative Commons on the Whisky Wash, so you can download them and make prints of them if you want, or do whatever you want with them. And likewise, if you want to buy any of these decades, get them all framed up, would look fantastic in a bar, wouldn't they? Get in touch, everything's for sale. But again, this is the second part of the video and we've still not quite covered everything, so I'm going to end this video here now and join us back for part 3. I can't believe I've got a 3-part collection of whiskey crap, but there you go. Come back for part 3 and we'll go through everything else remaining in the series.